Herika version 0.9.3 is now available for download. It's quite a big update with a few new features and a lot of small bug fixes and changes, as well as a new way to set up the simple AI gateway server. So let's just get right into it. Herika can now be aware of active crests within your crest journal. In this example here, she'll be aware of all the crests which I currently have ticked, apart from the Dawnguard crest, because that's currently not active.
Well, it looks like we still have a few quests on our plate. We need to report to Mirabelle Irvine for the quest First Lessons, find the Helm of Winterhold inside Hobbs Fall Cave for the quest Dungeon Delving, retrieve the Golden Claw for the quest The Golden Claw, and put out the fire in the Solitude Lighthouse for the quest Lights Out. So plenty to keep us busy.
You can also tell her to set a current crest to be an active crest, a plan, a mission, and so she will try to guide her responses for you to complete this mission or crest.
Alright, let's make Lights Out, our current mission. Time to head to the Solitude Lighthouse and put out that fire. Hopefully it won't be too much of a challenge.
However, these plans don't necessarily just have to be crests.
Well, looks like we have a change of plans. Making loads of gold it is. I mean, who needs adventure and danger when you can have shiny coins, right? Let's see how we can turn that into a lucrative business. Maybe some trading or crafting? We'll need to find the most profitable opportunities. So, Rangru, any thoughts on where we should start our gold-making journey?
Now when you get Herika to lead you to other places, you can actually tell her to slow down or speed up now if you need to save a bit of time.
Well, Rangru, looks like we're off to Whiterun now. I hope there's some interesting opportunities to make that gold we were talking about earlier. Fine, I'll slow down a bit for you. Wouldn't want you to get too winded, now would we? Just keep up the best you can.
We have also now given Herika a diary. This is meant to be an early solution to the memory problem, so she can actually remember things within your adventure. How it works is you have a hotkey available, yet when pressed, Herika will then remember the things which have just recently happened within the game. We've made this a manual process because this uses up a lot of API tokens and we don't want to waste your money. It's usually a good idea to press this button after an interesting event happened in game, like completing a crest stage or a cool combat encounter. It'll usually take her 5 to 10 seconds for her to jot this down into her diary. The idea here is that throughout your playthrough, when you encounter interesting events, you press the diary hotkey, see where you can remember it, and then later on, within your same playthrough, you can get her to recall these memories.
Well, it seems we had quite the adventure at Broken Ore Grotto. We encountered a group of Black Blood marauders and engaged in a blistering battle. Thanks to your trusty steel mace and my accurate shots with the hunting bow, we managed to take them down one by one. Even their leader, Captain Hargar, fell before us. It's safe to say our goal of seeking revenge has been achieved, at least for now. But let's not get too comfortable. There may be more dangers waiting for us in the shadows. So what's our next move, Rangru?
We've also allowed you to generate a backstory for Herika. We have a pretty nice ETSUIT interface which is very customizable, and you can generate and store a background story for Herika, which she can then recall at a later date.
Well, Rangru, where do I even begin? My background story is a mix of mischief, sarcasm, and a slight brush with danger. You see, I hail from a small village on the outskirts of High Rock in Breton territory. Growing up, I was known for my quick wit and clever comebacks. I always had a knack for making people laugh, even if it meant getting myself into trouble. My family, bless their hearts, didn't always appreciate my sense of humor, but they knew it was just a part of who I was.
Really, this diary feature has two main purposes. The first one being it allows you to generate a rudimentary memory for Herika, which is pretty cool. Eventually we'll get a better memory system in place. But secondly, It allows you to generate an after-action report of your entire Skyrim playthrough. As you can see, we have a pretty nice diary interface on the web server, which allows you to read through Herika's diary quite easily, no keys required. Thanks to the help to one of our beta testers, Rude, we've been able to integrate Google Cloud text-to-speech into the mod. Hey Herika, how are you?
Oh, Rangroo. You know it's Herika, not Herika. But I'm doing just fine, thank you. Ready for some more adventures and mischief?
Why, yes I am.
Great. I always have a few tricks up my sleeve. Let's see what trouble we can get ourselves into this time, shall we?
Where are we?
Well, Rangroo, it appears we are in Riverwood. It's a small village in the hold of Whiterun. Quite a peaceful place, if you ask me. But don't let that fool you. There's always something interesting happening around here.
It's a decent alternative to Azura, with roughly the same price for the standard voice type. However, there will be other voice types supported for Google Cloud in the future, which may possibly rival 11 Labs in quality and hopefully price as well.
Neural 2 represents the latest in synthetic voice generation.
There must have been moments even that afternoon when Daisy tumbled short of his dreams, not through her own fault, but because of the colossal vitality of his illusion. It had gone beyond her, beyond everything. He had thrown himself into it with a creative passion, adding to it all the time, decking it out with every bright...
We'll make a proper installation video for setting up Google Cloud sometime in the future. Now, one of the big new features with this update is the Dremor Distro. This is an alternative way to set up the simple AI gateway server. To explain it briefly, a distro is basically a Linux virtual machine which runs within your Windows 10 environment. A virtual machine is a computer within a computer. Think of it like a Game Boy emulator, but for an entire operating system. And quite simply, this distro has the simple AI gateway server as well as Mimic3 pre-configured and set up. And to actually install the server, it's quite a simple process. It involves 4 steps. The first one is to set up WSL. This is what allows us to run the virtual machines. With the command WSL install within a command prompt ran as administrator. You may have some issues if your motherboard or hardware does not support virtualization. It's usually just a quick configuration check within the UEFI or BIOS menu. If that all sounds like nonsense and you have problems running this command, just Google it. There's a bunch of answers online on how to fix that issue. Again, you just need to download the Dremor distro zip file and unpack it, and then run install.bat. It may take a minute or two for the installation process to go through, but it should be pretty straightforward. And finally, you just need to click the run.bat file, let the command terminal spin up, and boom, the server is now running. If you follow the IP address in the command prompt screen, copy and paste it into your web browser, you should be able to get to the server, the simple AI gateway server, as well as the Mimic3 server using the Mimic3 server port. And just the Dremor distro. By keeping everything contained in essentially a virtual machine, it means it's easier to just maintain updates for the server and make sure that it's running on proper infrastructure, as usually these sorts of things run a little bit better on a Linux machine, because this is essentially a virtual Linux machine. However, if you do have issues or don't want to set it up with the Dremor distro, the UWAMP server will work just the same and will still be supported. We'll make a more in-depth installation video sometime in the future about the Dremor distro. There's also a bunch of smaller fixes with this update, such as changing the follower framework dialog to be less buggy, adjusting how the speech to text hotkey works, adjusting how she reads from books. As well, we've kind of changed her default stats around in-game to make her a little bit more useful when you find her.